Hello everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys a replay commentary. I know you guys have been waiting for this, sorry for the delay in replay videos. Been busy with tournaments and stuff. Going to be doing a Morphling game today because Morphling is the most requested hero. I haven't been on my forums in a bit to check this, but if you go to my forums, you can vote for the choose the next hero for Purge to play. You can pick 5 heroes, and then they get added to the currently accrued votes. So I basically just do the one at the top, he gets removed. And then I do the next on the list. So if you guys want to vote on that, you can go to my forums, purgegamers.true.io. Hop over to the forums, and it is in the Dota 2 section. Hopefully it'll be bumped to the top in a moment. Okay, so with that said, let's hop into the Dota Buff section on Morphling. Again, I am sponsored by Dota Buff. Great company and great website as well for looking over basics of the hero and everything. So as per usual, if you guys are new to this or if you're desperately missing me or something, then I'm just going to talk about the basics of the hero. If you guys want to skip this part, you can. Hopefully going to put a drop down box, or I'm sorry, a little window if you want to skip this section, but I'm going to talk about the hero basics and break down stats and things like that. So the way Morphling works is he is a hero that is a bit different. His main feature is the fact that you have a skill called Morph, and what this does lets you adjust your strength and agility back and forth. Now this is significant because a point of strength gives you 40 HP, and some very minor HP regen, and a point of agility for an agility hero gives you 1 damage, it gives you 1 attack speed, and it gives you 1/7 armor. So that means to maximize your damage, you would morph all of your strength to your agility to increase your damage, your attack speed, and your armor. If you're worried about dying though, you need strength to keep your HP up. So that's the trade-off basically, is that you do need a lot of agility, but you need at least a little strength for HP. So basically, as you buy an item that give you stats to everything, like Lincoln Sphere for example, these kind of attributes that you buy from items you can't transfer. The only stats that you can transfer are your base stats that you gain from leveling up, and I think that's basically it. So this basically means Morphling is a agility based hero that has more agility than any other hero can possibly have, just because all of your base strength goes to your agility at some point, and all of your agility goes to your agility at some point, plus your items. And as you can tell by stat gain, his stat gain is actually amazing. His agility gain is ridiculous, 3.7. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the highest in the game right now. 2 strength per level is also very good, and your int gain is okay. Not amazing, but okay, because you do need int. Other than that, your base stats are pretty bad. Your base damage is really bad, your base attack time is fine, your armor's kind of bad, and your movement speed's relatively bad. But these all get offset by items and farming. And one of the reasons that he can farm so rapidly is because he never has downtime, and this mostly comes down to the fact of your ultimate, which is called Replicate. So with this, you make an illusion of an allied hero or an enemy hero. The illusion takes 100% damage, aka normal damage from damage. They do 80% of the base damage, and they last for 30 to 60 seconds. The cast range changes, and to cast the spell it costs 25. But what you can do with that illusion is you can teleport and become that Replicate for 150 mana. And by become, I mean the illusion essentially dies, but you teleport to its location. So what you can do with this is if you get low in mana, you can replicate somebody, you can teleport back to base, and once you're healed, you can use 150 mana to basically teleport back to lane. So by doing this, you constantly are able to do stuff, whether that is split pushing, or you can run a replicate with your team while you're off farming and then show up when the fight starts. There's a lot of little tricks like that that you can use. It's also just a good way to get somewhere faster. If you need to close a distance to get a kill, you can replicate somebody that's running away, teleport to them, and then get 2 or 3 more right clicks in before they get out. So that's Replicate. Mostly it's used as a farm improvement tool, a potential escape tool, kind of like how Ember Spirit's Fire Remnants work. And sometimes you can use it for damage. If an opponent has a Radiance, it's really good to make a replicate illusion of them, because then you get a Radiance as well. Same with auras. So you can be using it offensively, but most of the time you use this defensively or to maximize your farming to get you to a point where you're really strong. Your other skills are Waveform. This is your main farming and damage tool. It's also a positioning tool. You basically turn into a wave, you're invulnerable while you do this, and you surge forward doing AoE damage as you pass through. The cast point's pretty low, and as you do this, it's not just about doing the nuke, it's also about the fact that you're repositioning your hero. So if you're chasing somebody down, what you should be doing is attacking them 3, 4, 5 times, and then when you can't attack them anymore, you waveform past them to do damage, and then you continue attacking them. So the fact that it moves your hero in addition to doing a nuke is really significant, and that's the thing that makes this skill so strong, is the fact that you can use it to escape, you can use it to initiate, you can go up cliffs. and you can also reposition your hero to continue chasing. So you should be using the skill a lot in the mid game, basically to farm things faster. Usually what you'll do is you'll hit every creep so they're low, and then you'll waveform through the creep wave to finish it off and guarantee all 4 or 5 last hits. So waveform, very good skill. This is the one that you max out first. Your second skill is Adaptive Strike. What this does, it's a bit confusing, but this does a different thing depending on whether or not it is how much, if you have a lot of agility or if you have a lot of strength. And this is the only reason that you can play Morphling in 2 ways. You can play him either support or as a carry. Primarily he's popular as a carry right now, so we'll focus on that mostly. But if you have more agility than you have strength, then you get a damage multiplier. You can see it says damage multiplier at max is 2. So you multiply the agility you have by 2, add 100 to that, and that is the damage that Adaptive Strike does to your opponent. It does do a stun min, I believe, no matter what, for 0.25 seconds. So if you have agility max, you still do some stun, but it's a very low amount. Now if you have strength max, and you have 50% higher strength than your agility, then you will get a stun max of 4.25 seconds, which is a lot of stun. And that's on a 10-second cooldown. So some Morphlings will play it where they have more strength morphed than agility, which means they don't do very much damage because their right clicks are bad, but they can stun somebody for 4 seconds every 10 seconds, which is really strong. So it can be played that way, but right now it's not really seen as the better build. So that's Adaptive Strike. Mostly you use it as a nuke. And at some point your agility gets up to like 200, which means you would be nuking for 400 plus 100. That's a 500 damage nuke on a 10-second cooldown. Very good skill, basically. Kind of like a Dagon. This other little icon is from your Ags. If you get an Ags, you can make a hybrid of an allied hero, and then you can cast all of their basic spells, not including their ultimates, for 20 seconds. Obviously they have cooldowns and stuff like that. And then you, I don't know, it's never done as a carry. If you're playing that strength version, then you would probably buy nags at some point. So that's basically the basics of the hero. It's a little confusing, but again, the way the Adaptive Strikes works is that you just have to have 50% more of your primary. So if you do the strength build, you just have to have 50% more strength and agility. You shouldn't have more than that because you want to have some damage. Otherwise you're hitting for 40 damage, you have no armor, and you attack really slow. So, but when you're agility, you basically want to have as much agility as possible that you can get away with. So, skill build wise, this one's pretty darn close to accurate. I recently watched, I believe, this guy. I watched this guy's replay just to do some research before I played my game. Fear also plays a lot of Morphling, at least I saw him in one of the training guides. If you guys ever want to see somebody better than me play any of these heroes, honestly, the training guides are a really good way to do it. You can just go to more guides here and it'll show you a bunch of games that have been played by usually very high level players, and they have MMR estimations. This guy was extremely good. I really liked watching him play, so if you guys want to watch this game, you can. The match ID is right here if you guys are curious, but go check that out if you're interested. So I basically copied his build. The build that I thought was the correct one was almost exactly the same, and in fact the build that I thought was the correct one was the one that Fear did in one of his games. But I liked what this guy did in difference. He did grab his ulti at 6. Some Morphlings will delay it till 9, just because as you level up Morph, you get more base strength and agility. It's like free agility points, and as you level it up, your Morph goes faster. So you can change agility to strength a little bit more rapidly. And that's important because the way that this works is a little different than how most stats work. Now normally when you have treads, for example, and I'm on agility treads, and let's say I'm at half HP, if I switch to strength, my HP goes up, but my percentage of HP stays the same. I still have 50% of HP, but my max increases. So technically by switching from agility treads to strength, I'm getting half of that strength value because the percentage that I have is multiplied by the increase. The way Morph works, it's different. As I increase my strength, I just get that HP. So what you can basically do is if you're about to die in Morphling, morphing to strength actually keeps you alive and increases your HP. So if you can morph a total of, what is this, 0.0625 strength. I'm sorry, this is how often that spell activates. Every time that it activates, you get 1 shift. So basically, for every 1 second at level 1 morph, you gain 2 strength per second, which would be an increase of 40 HP per second. That's already pretty significant. But once you get down to that tiny little fraction, I might as well just do the math so I can tell you guys, so we can estimate how much this gives you. I'm gonna pull the calculator up. You can't see it right now, but so I'll do basically 1 divided by 0.0625 should give us the number of stats per second, right? Because if I do 1 divided by 0.5, that gives me 2, which is correct. So 1 divided by 0.5 0625, 0625, which means 16. So you're basically morphing 16 agility per second, 2 strength, which if we multiply that by 20 means a total of 320 HP per second is what you're getting out of that morph. So if you're worried about dying, you can activate morph. If you're stunned, you can activate morph. If you're silenced, you cannot activate morph. So if you're planning to get silenced or doomed, you need to activate morph before you get silenced or doomed. Important distinction there. But for stunned, you can actually activate it while you're stunned. Kind of weird. Alright, let's move on. Heroes, items. You basically buy a lot of items that give you a lot of all stats. The reason that these are so good is because if it gives you 15 all attributes, this allows you to turn 15 of your strength that you already have to agility. Now keep in mind, again, you can't take a Lincoln Sphere and turn the 15 strength that it gives you to agility. But for example, if I have base stats of 20 strength, 30 agility, and then I pick up a Lincoln Sphere, I now feel comfortable taking 15 of that 20 base strength and turning it into agility, because now Lincoln's is going to increase my HP and offset that. So as you buy more and more items that give you a little bit of everything, you kind of think of them as oh, my Lincoln Sphere is a 30 agility, 15 int item. And that sounds a lot better because that actually is making it more towards a good damage item for an agility hero. Lincoln's is also just super important because it gives you mana regen and HP regen, and that's what you need on Morphling, because as you're morphing stats or using waveform or casting adaptive strike, you do need mana regen over time. And the other item that really helps with this is Ring of Aquila, absolutely necessity in the early game, plus because it's just so good on agility heroes. So Ring of Aquila, Lincoln Sphere is pretty much always the correct build on Morphling, and on a lot of agility heroes it's often the case. Power Treads is also put in there. Sometimes you should get Bottle. I got Bottle this game. This guy here, his game that I watched, he got Bottle, and I felt it was very justified. I didn't watch Fear's replay, but I looked at the breakdowns of the match, and basically he just skipped Bottle. It looked like he really didn't need that much regen, probably didn't get pressured very much. But I really justified the Bottle here. I think it's kind of nice because it gives you more burst mana regen, whereas things like Lincoln's, Aquila are slow over time. So if you're kind of weaving in and out of fights and using waveform a lot, it's really useful. Other items you'll buy is Manta Style. You can remove silences here, very important, and it also gives you good generic stats, and again, 10 more strength that I can put towards agility. It also makes illusions. Illusions are really strong because you have so much agility that Manta Style means that your illusions doing 20% of your base damage are actually hitting for like 70 damage or something like that in a late game situation. That's really respectable, and they have good attack speed. Eye of Scotty's also fantastic, same principle. $25 stats, generic health, mana. It also gives you a slow, which sometimes you need to deal with some BKB carries. Another really common item, though, and the one that we probably should be talking about the most, is Ethereal Blade. Ethereal Blade is so good on Morphling because it basically lets you do something called the shotgun. It's commonly referred to that. It lets you basically one-shot people. Not exactly a one-shot, but this item nukes somebody for damage based on how much your primary attribute is, which is agility. And again, you have a lot of agility, so 2 times your agility plus 75 magic damage means it's doing pretty much the same damage as what adaptive strike is. The difference is that once somebody gets hit with Ethereal Blade, they take bonus magic damage afterwards. I'm not 100% that I'm pretty sure the way that it works is it doesn't boost up its self damage. Like the E-Blade effect doesn't hit and then do damage. It does damage, then it hits, and then any follow-up magic spells you throw will then do bonus damage. So that's why it's good with other nukes. So what you can do is you can E-Blade somebody to nuke them very hard. You'd hit them for like 500 damage using this. And then afterwards you cast Adaptive Strike to do the same damage again, except it gets boosted by 40% this time. There's an equation. It's probably less than 40%. It's probably more like 33 or 35 or something like that when you do the math. But it's a really good nuke. And if that doesn't kill him, then you can use Waveform afterwards to do a bonus 325, because this is all magic damage. So Morphling is kind of a cool carry in the sense that he has a lot of physical damage because he has so much agility. He also has a lot of magic damage because of E-Blade into Adaptive Strike Waveform. So it gives him all of this nuke power, this ganking potential, this evasiveness, and this ability to farm really rapidly. So it makes it a very interesting hero. Really cool hero concept. Really love that he's in the game. He's getting played a little bit more right now. Still not super popular, but he's pretty solid. Now he's good against. I haven't looked at these before, so we'll see what it says. Phoenix, good against Phoenix, probably for a couple reasons. First of all, your attack speed's stupidly high. Number 2 is you can reposition yourself in a team fight really easily using waveform, so you can waveform to where the egg is and then kill it. If he doesn't use Supernova, you'll oftentimes just kill him with E-Blade combo since he doesn't have any way to disjoint the spells. So if you get your E-Blade up at a reasonable time, you can just kill him. Also, Phoenix doesn't have very many offensive options against you. He can do pure damage to you, but you can waveform away, and then his Sunray won't be able to catch up. You can escape because he doesn't have a stun. There's a lot of reasons Phoenix is going to be weak against Morphling. PA, very weak to nukes because, yeah, at some point you can get BKB and not have to worry about E-Blade, but it doesn't cost Morphling anything really to cast an E-Blade combo on somebody, so it's very hard to take that and not get punished by it. So things like BKB are not a very good solution for Morphling. They're great during the team fight, but when he pops out of the jungle randomly ganking you and does a combo and you get killed, then it's really detrimental. So heroes like PA can have issues late game dealing with Morphling. Similar for heroes like Wind Ranger, I guess. They have difficulty locking him down and getting the kills, things like that. A lot of these heroes don't really have enough damage, but these are very, very small advantages. Most of these heroes are just have low advantages, probably because they're just getting bursted down by Morphling's damage, kind of a thing. Here's your bad against Meepo. All the Meepos have really high magic resistance, and if you don't kill the one, the Meepos will just kill you back, especially if you waveform in aggressively. Io, I'm a little surprised about Io being a hero that Morphling is bad against, but I guess it does give a lot of movement pressure. You can move around the map a lot easier and set up kills on Morphling, so he's a bit easier to punish perhaps. Anti-Mage is good against Morphling because he drains Morphling's mana, and then he can ulti him. Morphling often has a lot of int because the items you buy give you plus all stats, so usually your late game mana pool is really high, and if you don't have any mana, you can't morph, you can't replicate out, you can't use waveform, so mana drain's very good. Morphling's good against Anti-Mage in the first like 10 minutes or so because you can replicate Anti-Mage and then you can drain him with his own illusion, but that's about the only way. At some point Anti-Mage is usually going to beat a Morphling in a late game carry battle. Lone Druid is a little bit weak in some ways, but he's also kind of hard to kill. I'm quite surprised that Lone Druid has an advantage, but it's probably because this is a hero that kind of gets online a lot earlier. It's one of the downsides to Morphling. He does take a lot of items to farm. You can usually, if you're having a good game, you should be getting your Lincoln somewhere between the 15 and 18 minute mark, and then your E-Blade will come a little bit later. But if all of these things get delayed, or if you lose your lane, then Morphling is a really bad carry. If you are behind and they have good tower pushers, you are going to lose, and that is one reason why Morphling is kind of bad compared to other heroes. There's just a lot of other carries that come online early and do a lot more early stuff. Lone Druid can split push, for example. Morphling can't do that as easily, and he takes a lot of items to get there. OD can drain int, which makes sense, and he does pure damage, which cuts right through the super high armor that Morphling has, so that makes sense. Broodmother can pressure him in lane pretty easily and take towers, make less space for him to farm. Arc Warden I'm a little surprised about, I suppose. Not quite sure why that is there. Huskar has magic resistance, so naturally he resists the combo of Morphling, but if I was playing against a Huskar, I'd just focus more on like Manta, Eye of Scotty, Butterfly kind of stuff, rather than just skip E-Blade. Would probably be the better solution against Huskar. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about Morphling, I think, in terms of items. Sometimes you buy things like BKB. The Shadow Blade is very atypical. He needed it this game to look for kills against the Tinker, and occasionally late game you'll go Helm of the Dominator into Satanic. I was going to do that this game, but we didn't quite get there. Hero meta statistics. Morphling has a pretty high win rate right now, 52.2% at the 5k mark, which is not bad. I think he's an okay carry. Situationally useful. The best thing about Morphling by far is the fact that he's difficult to kill once farmed, he can split push well, and number 3 is that he's very good at getting solo kills, so he puts a lot of pressure on enemy supports, because you can just, for example, you can just stroll around with a replicate just running through the enemy jungle. If their opponents don't kill it, and a support strolls up and they run into each other, Morphling can instantly teleport into it, use an E-Blade combo, and there's a dead support if he doesn't have like a Yule's or a Blink Dagger to dodge it. So there was a period in Dota like 3 or 4 years ago where Morphling was by far the most OP carry. E-Blade would instantly hit somebody, as did Adaptive Strike, so you couldn't even blink dodge this skill. It was really OP for a while. But he's been morphed and changed, and I didn't mean to... It's the same morph there, but he's been nerfed and changed in a couple ways, and he's in a okay place right now. He has potential. Some teams are picking him, but some games he kind of falls flat and isn't as good as other carries. So I have played 44 Morphling games, 43% win rate. When I first started playing Morphling, I had no concept of playing the hero well, but lately I felt pretty good about him. So I feel like my win rate's getting better, but yeah, bad history in the past. Okay, I think that is pretty much everything we need to talk about. Hopefully that satiated your guys' appetite for my replay commentaries. And we can, oops, I just need to go over here and close this. so we don't get any lag. Close tabs. Alright. And now we'll go through my player perspective here. So, I was playing international ranked here, which means that my MMR is technically devalued, so it was a slightly unfair game in a way. Because I think my solo rating for international ranked is like 4,400, whereas my real MMR is like 5.8, but with that said, I think it's just important to show you guys the principles of the hero and to show ideally a winning game so you can see good things about the hero, and I'll try to explain the pitfalls and the negatives and things like that as they hopefully present themselves or almost happen. I know a lot of people are sometimes upset, maybe it's not a lot, but some in the past this is more of the case, but people will say, why doesn't Purge upload losing games, or Purge is trying to give an inaccurate representation of how good he is at Dota. That's not true at all. If you want to see how good I am at Dota, the best way to do is watch my stream, because some of those games, they go bad, or some of the games I completely fail and play like crap and lose games because of it. The reason I want to upload winning games is just because it gives you guys a better demonstration of what is good about the hero. So, first things first. I morphed a lot of my strength to agility. It's important that you do this in Fountain because this costs you 30 mana per second to do this. So if I was to morph, I probably morph like, I don't know, 6-7 seconds worth of stats, which means that morphing here would have cost me like half of my mana pool. And then I'm going to lane. If I basically get waveform level 1 and then I get morph level 2, this means that when I actually get to lane, I'm going to be missing half of my mana right off the bat, which I'm going to need for waveforms. So I really recommend, in almost all cases, it's better just to morph in base, just because you need the mana. Now in terms of my starting item build, this is different than what Fear did. The game that Fear played, he got 1 Tango, he got a Circlet, 3 Ironwood branches, and a Ring of Protection. So that basically gives him a total of +5 to all stats, which is similar to what I do with Wraithband. Wraithband gives me 9 damage, he only gets 5 out of his build, but he gets more efficient strength and int. And he also gets a Ring of Protection, which allows him to get a Ring of Basilius very rapidly in the side shop, which means he can get mana at the start of the game. Now the reason Basilius is good is because, again, your int is very, very low, level 1, 17 plus 3 here. So I don't have that much mana pool, and if I start casting spells, I'm going to run out. So it's pretty important that you do get that up and running pretty rapidly. Now the build that the other guy did that Fear did not do was that he got a fairly early bottle, and his bottle timing came, he had Wraithband, he went Brown Boots, he purchased a Ring of Health, because at that point your Tango usually runs out, and then afterwards he purchased Bottle. I thought that was quite good, because first of all, storing runes on Morphling is quite good. Storing a double damage, for example, double damage on Morphling is second only to maybe Tiny. In fact, I'd maybe argue that Morphling with a DD is the best here with a DD. That's because DD is based on your primary attribute, which is based on your agility. The only reason it works really good on Tiny as well is because when he uses Grow, his ultimate, it increases the base number, which means that a DD for Tiny actually also benefits heavily. So both of these two heroes, they really benefit from runes. Haste as well, you're very mobile, you're hard to kill, you can dive and do aggressive things if you have haste runes. It's really good. If you have arcane runes, you can morph for less mana, you can waveform for less mana. Lots of good things like that. So I'm mostly just focusing on last hits here. I'm considering, I do approach sometimes and right click the bottom. I'm just doing this to help out the line basically. You can maybe criticize the fact that I let a ranged creep go through first, because now the creep wave is pushing and I'm constantly at level 1. Whereas if this lane was static instead, what I'd be able to do is get level 2 at a reasonable time, and then I could pressure the Priest of the Moon a little bit faster, aka the Mirana. But I'm content with how this went. Lane-wise, I'm denying quite heavily, and this is again because my base damage is really high, because I have a Wraithband and I morphed everything early. And the other reason that I'm not level 2 is just because almost all experience is tied up in range creeps, as you can see. Not all of it, but a lot of it. It's like 40% or something. So once those range creeps die, it's going to be a lot easier for me to level up here. I had a little bit of trouble last sitting under tower, especially on this one. I was a little disappointed I didn't get that one. Might have gotten a little unlucky on tower, but it's like my line died. This is the new Immortal, by the way. It makes your waveform kind of look like an E-Blade. I was alright with it. I sort of like the regular waveform better. This one's a little bit obnoxious looking, but it's okay. So yeah, first item I'm going to buy, either Ring of Health if I'm being pressured in my lane, Boots of Speed perhaps because my hero's so slow, or Ring of Basilius if I have a Ring of Protection going in the lane. The guy that I watch also didn't buy Magic Wand, but in a lot of cases Magic Wand is really good to have on Morphling, just because it could be the difference between you having your ultimate or not. If I'm against a mana drainer, I'm definitely buying a Magic Wand, because if they drain your mana fully, you need 150 mana to teleport to your Replicate that might be in Fountain, so popping Wand and then using Replicate could be life-saving. So what I wanted to do here is walk over to the large camp and side pull it, which is why I ditched that range creep, but unfortunately the camp was actually dead. It was a little unfortunate. I also didn't pay much attention to the fact that there was a Rubik coming over here. If I actually walked over and body blocked him, line might have been able to catch up, and then we would have gotten a kill for sure. So that was kind of bad play by me. It's also kind of good that the large camp is blocked though, because Mirana is probably just going to arrow it if nobody's there. So definitely important to balance that. As you can see, she arrowed over here looking for a neutral creep. Oh, and she actually got Lion. That's incredible. So for now, just focusing on last hitting if possible. Speed this up a little bit. When he's pulling, there's not really much I can do, so I'm just going to wait around. In fact, I shifted over to deny some of these creeps because I want to make sure that they don't get the experience for that range creep. And now I can last it under my tower again, which is pretty nice. And I'm going to always keep an eye on my line. Since I have waveform, I can get places pretty rapidly. The range is quite large, so always ready to waveform in and go for some last hits or hits on enemy heroes. Because that's how I'm useful in the laning stage. I maybe could have waveformed there to get the last hit, but didn't go for it. So my last hits are decent right now. In fact, they're very good compared to my opponent, but that's not really saying that much. It's more just reflecting my Smurf, and Smurf as in me playing international ranked, since I'm a little D-ranked or devalued right now. So when somebody's stunned, it's a good time to waveform, and then just get as many right clicks in as you can. Even if we don't kill him, that's fine. I maybe lost 1 or 2 last hits, but the fact that we did pressure to a hero and force him to use either a salve or something else like that is really good. And he's kind of standing still here, which was very confusing to me. And I know he doesn't have leap because he already used leap, so I just wanted to guarantee the kill, and that's what you do on Morphling. That was a super gimme, so not exactly a normal circumstance, but either way I get a kill. Out of mana, so I need some mana regen, either bottle or Ring of Basilius would be great. Looks like I prioritized the Basie first, but I think this was actually a mistake. I think bottle here would have been better, because it would give me a lot more regen. Not really sold on my choice to do this, because I think I did buy quite rapidly. But yeah, bottle would have been way better. I'm missing quite a bit of HP, I'm missing quite a bit of mana. I can walk over to rune spots early game. I think that just would be better. It also helps that I have Invoker this game, because of I missed that range creep because I was buying. But it's really nice I have Invoker, because then there's less bottles in the game, which means that it's easier for me to go bot rune and grab a free rune refill. This is basically your standard skill build though. A single morph point, skill point gives you 3 agility and 3 strength, so it's quite good to have at least 1 really. Another good reason to have it at level 1. Alright, level 6. Normally players will grab Replicate here, sometimes, if the lane's a bit more contested, but I really wasn't very concerned about that, so I just grabbed another morph level. It gives me 20 more HP, 1 more damage, 1 more attack speed. And there's my Ring of Aquila, which gives me some good armor as well to make up for the fact that your early game armor is okay but not amazing, usually. And now I'm going to go for bottle. Again, I think this was a mistake, but it's not that big of a deal. Either way, having Ring of Aquila finish increased my damage by like 4 or something like that. No, 7. Going for waveform here on Rubik just to do as much damage as possible. This doesn't really cost me very much, just 1 waveform. And that guy's going to probably have to leave now. Really wish I had a bottle in this case, because then I would have had a lot more mana, and Rubik making a huge mistake, so pretty easy kill there. It's kind of started the period of the game where they were just constantly everywhere, basically. I wanted to deny that range creep, but it really wasn't worth it. Oh, I didn't even realize that happened while it happened, but that ice shards pulled me into the arrow, which otherwise went to hit me, so that was actually kind of unlucky that I got killed there. Guess that wasn't quite as dangerous as... I mean, it was still dangerous, but I shouldn't have died there. But regardless, that it was kind of lucky that the shards pushed me left for the arrow. I would have taken away less damage otherwise. So, while I am dead, about to respawn. Probably should have brought him maybe a clarity or something, would have helped him a lot, but... Forgot to morph before I left base, which is a big mistake. As you can see, I lost 70 mana because of that. That stuff can really add up. If I didn't get that last hit, I was going to waveform to guarantee that I did get it. And now I can basically last hit everything because my base damage is so high. Just try to stand around this area if you know that they might dive you, because that gives you the ability to waveform south or juke and start morphing. people dive you under tower, it's actually quite good for Morphling, just because you can extend your life by so much if you have a big mana pool. Which is now almost full due to my Morph mistake. But yeah, after you use Morph, make sure that you change before you come back to lane, otherwise you're going to be losing a lot of mana. Alright, bottle's on the way now. Which means I can be a little bit more spammy in terms of using waveform. It's definitely the biggest problem about going Ring of Aquila here. If I had bottle instead of the Aquila, I could have started waveforming to harass, stuff like that. I was trying to not scare him exactly. And did a little damage, but we weren't going to be able to kill him. If I had Replicate, I might have been able to actually, because I could have waveformed into him and then replicated under tower, but that would have been dangerous because he would have just lifted me. So bottle's finished now, and I can keep pressuring. Also, sometimes it's just good to kill the wave really fast. Fortunately, my waveform damage didn't hit that guy, otherwise that would have been okay. And yeah, after I use waveform, I get to bottle charge twice and then I have mana again. Whereas otherwise I'm sitting around waiting for it to happen. That was a huge stun actually that I caught bottom as well. But they didn't expect Beast to be there, I guess. Nicely done by them. I grabbed a Glove of Haste just because it's going to make me farm a bit faster. Although I probably should have justified the stat point, or the stat choice instead. Now, one thing that Rubik has as a tool against you is that he can actually steal Morph. So if you're ever Strength Morphing around a Rubik, you got to be careful. Because if he steals it from you, he's going to turn all of his agility into Strength, which isn't really a big counter. Or it isn't really a bad thing for a Rubik because he's an int-hero. So he loses armor mainly and attack speed, but he gains a lot of HP, which is definitely worth it in the early game. So be a little careful when you're playing Morphling versus Rubik. You don't really want him to steal Morph from you. Try not to use Strength Morph in front of him because he'll take it. So grabbing a rune here. I grab an Invis, which is kind of nice. I was thinking about using it for a gank. I was checking mid. That's just a Tusk. That's a hard kill. Kind of wanted somebody to shift down here to set up a kill. That guy had a infused raindrop, which does block some of my magic damage, so he's going to be kind of hard to kill. I also was walking over to buy treads in the meantime, which increases my attack speed by quite a bit. Can't tread switch until without breaking Invis, so. And most of the time I'm just going to sit on agility treads. Whenever you're bottling, always stay on agility treads because it gives you the maximum amount of mana and regen. This looks like a pretty easy kill. I'm just make sure you switch to int treads as well when you use waveform because it's going to save a huge amount of your mana pool. It's going to make the spell, like, at this point, like 20 to 30% less mana if you switch to int before you do that. So that savings really adds up over time. Is that animation different? Attack animation looks a little different. I don't remember those little, like, water explosions. Just make sure you're getting every last hit. I was being a little careless there with auto-attacking, but it mostly worked out. And now I'm just looking around the map, seeing if there's kill opportunities. Always hold the TP as well, since you're so mobile, you can definitely turn ganks around and things like that. There we go, just a little waveform to push the wave. I don't necessarily have to stick around. I could basically move to the jungle, start waveforming neutral creeps, for example. Finish my Perseverance, 10 damage, lots of mana regen. It's going to help me waveform more. And that was basically the period of time where I've got tons of mana regen options. Treads is good for mana, Perseverance good for mana, Aquila and Bottle all good for mana. Make an illusion of Potom. I did this part really bad because I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do it, but I had a rune coming up. What I should have done probably, left the Mirana illusion here, walk to the rune spot, pick up the rune, and then come back. But instead I wanted to farm this while also going for the rune, so now I tried to waveform here, but I was clicking too far because of the camera angle, and then at this point the line ended up taking it, which kind of screwed me over. And then I wasn't going to bother spending 150 mana to teleport here, so I just walked over. That was inefficient, but fixing inefficiencies like that increases your GPM. Like, I already missed one last hit, I could have gotten a second one, and a bounty rune, and line could have done something else, so that wasn't very good. But, you know, little things like that can be fixed. Good hex there by him. A little wand usage for Potom. She doesn't die, but that's okay. Still worth it. Definitely want to fight over here. Just make sure you're right-clicking a lot when you're playing Morphling. It's really important. Oh, I lost a lot of mana to the Necros. That was very, very problematic. But right here, for example, just right-clicking like 2 or 3 times can make a big difference. And now because I might want to get back into the battle fast, what I'm going to do is make a replicate of the Rubik here. I'm going to go hide it, and then I'm going to tread switch and TP back to base. You actually can't hide in there, so I had to go hide down here. But so what this basically lets me do is I can send base, I can morph my strength over a little bit while bottling. I went way too low there. That's down to 1. You never go full agility until late game. Need to morph it up just a little bit, and then back in. So I basically leave the lane for like 20 seconds. Even though I got low, I didn't have to walk back. It's one of the things that really increases Morphling's viability. That's an extra creep wave or 2 that I have, which pushes the lane, which lets me push or pressure the tower. It's a lot of good things. I maybe could have gone up and hit another creep there. But what I did here is I stacked the large camp while shifting over to grab the rune. Grabbed an illusion rune, which is pretty good for Morphling, just because, again, your base damage is quite good. So my illusions will do a percentage damage of my 115 number, which means I should have used them a little bit earlier, but I didn't think to use them until about now, I think. In 2 seconds or so. And this is also probably a mistake because there's a creep wave pushing in. This is way more gold than the neutrals, so I think this is inefficient of me to do this. If I really wanted to be max efficiency, what I could have done is just walk down here. Maybe waveform up, come down here, push the wave out twice, then do the stack. While stacking again, would have been fine. Instead I miss a creep wave. But yeah, illusion rune quite good. Getting close to my Lincoln sphere now. Lincoln's super important in this game because of the Clinks, because Clinks often buys Orchid. Silences and Orchid heroes are the biggest counter to you, so if people have those before you get your Orchid, or before you get your Lincolns, it's a really bad thing. So you gotta be careful with that. Could have waveformed in for this, but I was close enough, I might as well attack. But if your waveform is up and you go from here to here, it saves a second or 2 of moving around, so stuff like that is really good. Now I'm going to send my illusions over here to scout for heroes while I go meet the creep wave and then farm it. Because I want to see if I'm getting ganked or something like that. But right now this passive laning style thing where I push the wave and they push the wave, it's actually quite fine for Morphling. And I should be considering TPing to fights like these, in case there's stuff going on. I tried to buy Ultimate Orb over here, but I forgot that you can't buy it here anymore. I really hate that change. Still thinking about going, but generally only want to go if you know for sure you're going to help in a kill. Like, I could TP right now and show up, but if we don't instantly take a fight, then we're losing the game, or we're getting out-farmed, because they probably have someone on the map that's AFK farming right now, and if I don't offset that, it's a really bad thing. It's like Clinks actually just walked right past me. Okay, so this was kind of the setup of everything. I did want to come over here and grab the rune. I was thinking about waveforming for it, but I saw that they were going to go there first. So now I'm running away. I did see that he was moving towards me, and the fact that they ran over here, they were going to assume that I was farming this camp, which I decided to back. And with the arrow hitting, I was like, alright, they're clearly watching me, like they want to kill me, right? That seemed really obvious. My mistake was that I basically stayed in the lane. I should have played this a little bit safer. Are they all invisible? Oh, they used Pot Multi, that's why. So I believe the Clink started attacking me from behind. And then that guy TP'd in as well. So I'm kind of screwed at this point. I think waveforming past them was pretty stupid. In fact, what I should have done is I should have better looked at the situation. I should have instantly made a replicate of Clinks. I should have ran that replicate south. Then I can, as soon as Rubik lifts me, I waveform northeast. And then I would replicate to the illusion, which would then be by the tower. So as soon as I make a replicate, they may have to kill that, or if they don't kill me in time and I can walk it back and replicate to it, then I live. But I'm a bad Morphling, so I'm not very quick thinking about that. I just thought, oh, it's just Clinks. I'll just walk this opposite way, and that he doesn't have the lead on me, and then I'll be fine. But I should have realized that they were all going to be there, because I saw lots of them. Winter Wyvern was moving over. They shot an arrow towards the Ancients, or towards the large camp. Like, that was very obvious. So I lost the tower because of that. Pretty big mistake. TP in the bot lane, I made a big mistake there as well. I should have made a replicate of Slardar before I left the base, because now there's no heroes around me for me to use a replicate. I could have made a replicate, ran it top or mid to help gank, because if my allies, I could just run it next to my Invoker, for example, and if my Invoker sets up a disable on somebody, I can show up and use waveform, and then maybe we kill that guy, because now my waveform is there, and that's worth it, because I could just TP back to bot afterwards, hypothetically. So a little bit of Clinks here, made a replicate of him, just so that I have the option, because now that gives me an option of seeing a hero. Looks like they have some wards in our jungle, which is fine. Adaptive Strike's almost maxed out. And just moving the illusion towards mid where a fight might happen. Linken's is now up. I'm moving the courier a really abstract way because I don't want the guy to go, and I came in mid. Not sure how we had vision here. Oh, looks like we had a Necro 3. It's a pretty good fight. I basically help out getting a double. Probably didn't do that much damage there, but I did a little bit. I actually did a lot apparently. So I waveformed 2 heroes. That was pretty good. Just looking to see if he'd wrap around the right corner. Give a bottle charge to this guy. Unfortunately, he had ran north. Don't really know why that guy was over there. It didn't really make sense. Who knows? But we don't get the kill, so I'll just go back to farming. I get a new ult in 10 seconds. I could also TP to a different lane if needed. I think I waveformed a little bit too far there, and I should have probably started attacking first. I think that's something that good Morphlings do, is they attack a bunch of times and then they waveform, because you can always buy yourself more time with Morph. Like, even if the Clink started attacking me, I could just start morphing HP, and then if I need to escape, I can waveform or Adaptive Strike or whatever. Whereas I kind of just did it reactively. I said, oh, I need to nuke and start attacking that guy. It would have probably been better to do other things. So, I just showed up here because I knew I could help kill the Winter Wyvern. He wouldn't have died otherwise. So, I don't have any more mana, so I'm not going to show up for or walk over for that. So I'll just hit tower instead. And as you can see, I have almost all of my strength morphed into agility right now. My HP is fairly low, but I've got really high armor, and I have a Linken Sphere to stop spells, so I'm quite survivable. I could have just farmed top instead, but, you know, guaranteeing a Winter Wyvern kill and helping kill the tower afterwards, much better. So my item timings are looking alright right now. We maybe could have taken Roche here. I think I maybe misplayed this part a little bit, but my mana was quite low, and instead I decided to walk over and push the wave. But I could have walked through the trees, like Invoker did here, and go help. This is probably a mistake. Almost guaranteed it's a mistake. So I basically just pushed. So let's look at the fight. Let's see if I could have been useful. So I only want to look at radiant perspective. Alright, that guy died either way. This guy looks like he's dead either way. Like, at this point looking at it, it's like they didn't really need me. And then this is the problem. Oh, actually that messed it up really bad. Now I was like, I should be there. Just had to get a little closer here. Just made an illusion. That was actually kind of useful because then I didn't take double nuke. But I think I was a little greedy about that, but we did get a tower push out of it, and I got a couple kills. So that was okay. I think that was an okay sacrifice. It looked like it was going so well, and then Murano showed up, basically. Alright, same thing here. Morphing stuff over because I was kind of low anyways. If I brought any dust, we would have had a kill. But I did not bring a dust. That's my fault, though. Probably should have carried one, honestly. Staying around is probably dangerous. We already want a team fight. They're likely going to react with it with all of their heroes, even if bottom's still dead. So at this point, go back to farming. Trying to go a bit of an abstract way. Grab a rune. Go to farming. I maybe could have moved into the jungle, farmed here. Instead, I kind of just walked mid. Don't know if I completely agree with my choice here. I think this is... I wanted to get a kill with Line is what I wanted to do, actually. But his Hex came a little late, now he dies. So I just wasted a lot of time here. Could have been farming neutrals this whole time. Something I saw the guy do that I watched replay of is he actually farmed Ancients a lot. Probably because the armor is so high that you can actually do this pretty well. Your damage is really high and your armor is high, so even if you don't have cleave, you actually kill them pretty fast. And then if you get too low from that, you can always just do the relocate or replicate TP back base trick. I was able to get the regen here. It's pretty low chance I killed that guy, but that's fine. I got the regen out of it. So I'm going to run top here. I probably should have ran around, I think, rather than the way that I did. I'm trying to waveform to the high ground, but I kept messing it up. Oh, he got amp damage, I didn't even notice that. He did blink dodge that, nicely done by him. That was well done by Rubik, honestly. He did that really well. I think I found... Oh, this guy's really dead. I have to be careful not running near heroes like that. Like I probably was dead with or without me, but... That's why Ghost Scepter is good. Yeah, we're just kind of winning every fight now. They don't really have a good solution against me, and I'm out farming everybody. Yeah, the net worths aren't even close. Just because we're winning fights and I'm farming at the same pace as them. Mostly just comes to downtime. I mean, against a really good player, my CS is definitely behind. But against like mid 4Ks, maybe 5Ks, this is it's passable. I would definitely say these seem like 4K players. They're kind of reacting in weird ways. Oh, that was a really stupid TP. That was my E-Blade, and I TP'd right before it got to me. That's pretty funny. I do have a replicate up there, though. I think it's right here. Which is why I started moving it back. And now the courier is most of the way to me. Give him a bottle charge just to make sure that he lives. So it only took 2 skills there to kill him. Didn't need waveform, but still worked out alright. This is now the threat. You know, it's 25 minutes in. Winter Wyvern has a medallion. He should really have a Glimmer cape this game. There's a lot of nukes. Glimmer is definitely justified. But if I do that fast enough, the Glimmer doesn't even activate in time. He still dies. So pretty dangerous now for him. They don't have very good solutions against me. They kind of need to be able to break my Lincolns and then silence me and then kill me. But I don't know if that's quite as easy. I got an Arcane Rune, that's pretty nice. So if I use Arcane Rune, I can E-Blade on a lower cooldown. It'll go down to like 12 or something. And it'll cost less mana, so I can have more uptime doing this. So I'm kind of just looking around, waiting for opportunities. Seeing if somebody gets close enough to me. No bottom's over here, so I'm going to go shift over this way. Is that my illusion hitting the tower? I feel like it is. Yeah, my illusion just died over here. I think it was just hitting tower. And that still one-shots him, so... I used the Arcane Rune first, and yeah, 14-second cooldown. Oh, it also lowers the cooldown on Lincolns, actually. That's pretty nice. My damage is really good right now. 240. I kind of want to go after these guys, it's just difficult. They're just going to go invis, they can blink dodge my projectiles, stuff like that. We're kind of trying to force this a little too hard. We should probably spread out. If I had a TP scroll and somebody should give me a TP scroll, so what should happen? I should TP over here. I should push the lane out like 3 or 4 waves while they kind of hold, and then we don't have to worry about split push. But we weren't doing a good job dealing with the split push, partially because, again, I haven't gone to buy another TP, but somebody should just give me theirs. But we don't have that many, I guess. I think Beast should have given me his TP. I could have TP'd over here, and I could have defended Clinks, taking that tower. And then we went to lost a tower for free. That was really bad. That's one of the things Morphling lets you do. It's very similar to Ember Spirit. Make an illusion, go back, and teleport back. Instead, we have to worry about Clinks taking your racks. Which is not good. Next item is going to be... oh, then I found Clinks. This is kind of funny. He was killing my illusion. He was very close to dying. I think even if he was there, he wouldn't have died. He probably got low though. Got a DD, that was pretty nice. Again, that's going to increase my damage by 238. Somebody grab the Aegis. Oh, okay. I should make a replicate. Killed that guy for free. That guy was not making good decisions. I figured he wasn't going to see that coming, so I decided to go for it. And I decided to farm things. Just morphing a little bit here. I played that really dangerously. Got really low, but it worked out. I have more strength than Agi right now, so if I do adaptive strike, they'll get stunned. And it won't do very much damage. Thought he'd be flying over the cliff, but he wasn't.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So I'm kind of in a position where I really wish that I had a teleport scroll, because then I could full heal and refill my bottle and adjust my stats to what they need to be, but I can't really do that. Regen would solve that problem, or could just morph heavily and let it regen back up. Another way to kind of get around that is what you can do is you can morph your strength all the way down to 1, and then you would have like less than 1200 HP, and then basically every regen you get from Lincoln Sphere would actually give you a huge percentage of the total. So it's another way to get around that problem. But I have a TP coming now on the courier, so probably should have done that morphine in base. It would have been a lot safer, but I didn't really want to use my invis here, so I bought a salve to use instead. Just kind of worth it. Saw the other guy do it. I think sometimes it's the right choice. That was really unfortunate. That man died. Don't really know. I thought maybe I'd be able to get close for the Rubik, but then I realized he's definitely going to be able to get away. That guy's not a bad player. He's doing a good job dodging things, but morphed pretty heavily strength there, so gotta go back down. Could have strength switched here. Strength switched. Yeah. At this point, they're really falling apart. They're not even close anymore in fights, and he would have killed me with Winter's Curse there. Again, you're low. You start morphing to strength, and you're good again. That's Morphling. So playing against Morphling is kind of tough. You need silences. You need some solutions. Minus armor can be really good too. Really good hero is Elder Titan actually. Elder Titan works fantastic just because he removes all your base armor, which in this case is all of the agility you have. So, good solution against Morph. Next item I'm making is Scotty now. Oh, I should have brought TPs. I don't know why I didn't bring TPs. That was stupid.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Goodbye. Rubik's quite good against Morph because of his no field as well. Magic resistance to him and his allies. I think Rubik was their best player, that's what it seemed like. But it's definitely a bit of a hard game here. I should have been using Manta a bit more for damage.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
You can dodge some projectiles doing that, I think.
Are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And basically I just wanted to finish my items, so.
Dire's bottom tower.
Heal. Got a haste rune.
Dire's bottom barracks is falling.
And there we go, Scotty. So this is about where Scotty puts you once you get like 3 or 4 items deep. You have about 2000 HP even on 1 strength, so I have about 300 agility, which means my adaptive strike does 700 magic damage, and my E-blade does about the same, so it's really strong. It's like a Dagon 5. Yeah, my adaptive strike did about 800 there after resistance. That's really good. I morphed a little bit late there, and I could have manted as well to evade hits. So, little mistakes, but yeah, that's Morphling. You kind of go from this like laning stage to this efficient item build to this efficient farming to this participating in fights, getting kills with waveform, and at some point you kind of just start getting solo kills using E-blade, and then it becomes a little bit hard for your opponents to kill you. And obviously these players they seemed quite a bit worse than me, so maybe it isn't completely fair, but I think it definitely demonstrates the strength of the hero, which is really what I'm here for. So hope you guys learned a lot, and going to be bringing you guys more of these all the way up until TI most likely. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.